Hello, everyone. Welcome to this live virtual session. I'm Rachel Venosa, Senior Editor at People Matters, and I will be your host for today. This episode of the HR Spotlight series is brought to you by People Matters in association with SAP SuccessFactors. Work from anywhere is fast becoming the norm, so it's crucial that businesses set themselves up for success by providing everything employees need in a centralized digital workspace. But what exactly makes a digital environment conducive to high impact work? As the landscape of people and work continues to be unpredictable, leaders today are developing strategies to get the hybrid workforce on board the train of engagement, productivity, and innovation. And so, we bring to you the fourth episode of the series on reimagining digital workspaces for better employee experience and productivity. I'm excited to welcome our experts today. We have with us Cornelius Ariyanto W., Vice President of Human Resources at PT Indo Tambang Raya Megah. Ariyanto's career is marked by consistent success and improving efficiency, and by exceptional business acumen and proven success in leading cross-functional teams across geographies. Responsible for the smooth and profitable operation of a company's HR department, Ariyanto supervises and provides consultation to management on strategic staffing plans such as compensation and benefits, training and development, budget, labor relations, and more. Welcome, Ariyanto.
Hi, thank you, Rachel. Thank you. Such honor being here. Thank you.
We also have with us Sujay Bhat, HR Technology Strategy Advisor at SAP SuccessFactors. Sujay is an experienced leader with new business and account management experience in consulting, cloud and SaaS-based IT services across India, the Philippines, Singapore, and China. With immense marketing and project management experience across industries and geographies, Sujay has successfully built high-performance sales organizations. Welcome, Sujay.
Hi, Rachel, and thank you, Pak Ariyanto, for being here. And thank you, everyone, for joining this session.
Thank you.
A quick note to our attendees today. If you have any questions during the session, please feel free to use the chat window. We will bring up your questions during the audience Q&A. Now, before we begin, I do have an opening question. As we open the session on reimagining the digital workplace, in one line, could you share with us what the digital workplace means to you? And that I would be asking Ariyanto and then Sujay about the meaning of the digital workplace and its impact on today's ever-changing world of work. Ariyanto?
Thanks so much, Rachel. So very honored to be in this session. Yeah. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everybody who's connected to the webinar. Glad and to be shared with all of you here as the sharing lesson. And as a part of this webinar, I'm hoping that my voice sounds clear. Yes, since I'm on the business trip to somewhere in the jungle in middle of Kalimantan, so hopefully can be heard clearly. Yeah, refer to your question, Rachel. So I do believe that everyone now is aware about the digital are moving high speed. Yeah, so that is the business now moving into the digital age with the high speed, and seems that everywhere we can look that company are doing all they can do, introduce innovative technology solution to the attract and retain both internal and external customer. So meaning that over recent years, so many companies are starting to wake up the fact that going to be digital is not only about improving the customer or the employee experience, but technology also represent the organization opportunity to many kind to digitize, to automate so many tasks or workflow, and then compass to their many job description, which is this gonna be refer to the employee productivity or accomplish so many objective of the organization. I think that's refer to your opening questions, right, sir?
Yep. And we love that you're also joining us from our, what we would say, a remote location, because it proves the power of technology in connecting us. Sujay?
Let me unmute myself first. So, digital workplace for me is providing stakeholders, it could be managers, employees, business leaders, the ability to seamlessly collaborate with one another in a borderless environment to be able to get work done. That to me is a digital workplace, and it does have a profound impact on the way we work today. Because just like the situation Park Ariyanto is in, we are completely mobile and agile. So hence, we need a platform, a technology platform, for us to be able to connect, inform, and engage better with a very diverse and mobile workforce today. So that would be digital for me, and the impact it has on work and business models.
Thank you, Sujay and Ariyanto. Now, I would like to know what top talent trends you see today are influencing how we design and develop the digital workplace. Ariyanto, any talent trends that you see impacting us?
Well, this is kind of the tough question here. So when we talking about the talent, yeah, I think we are not talking about the only specific talent, but we're talking about all employee engagement. So the all talent can be engaged through the moving forward of digital age. Yeah. So basically, when we see the impact to the entire organization, whoever's who involved will be effective of this changing. Yeah. The fundamental is dealing with people mindset on how we do it and how we started with all the technology that advancing more each day. They always need some technology solution to offer on the revolutionized way. Yeah. Uh, in terms of the people, they communicate, they engage, they work, and they collaborate to manage the workflow going forward.
You mentioned something about the mindset. It almost feels as if the emergence of technology goes parallel with that change in mindset, which is the cultural change, I guess, with how we embrace technology. Sujay, what are your thoughts on specific talent trends, as Ariyanto has already mentioned some, that are influencing how we develop and design the workforce or the workplace?
Yeah. So, just to add to what Park Ariyanto was saying, right? So, from a talent perspective, today we see the increased need for portability of talent, sustainability of talent. We're focusing a lot on employee experience. We're focusing a lot on learning from an upskilling and reskilling perspective. And, as I mentioned earlier, there is a need for seamless collaboration. So these are few of the talent areas today, which are in fact driving the decision and design of the workplace of the future in a large number of organizations today. So it's primarily around how do you build and develop talent for the future needs of the organization.
So, Ariyanto, I'm curious about your experience in as an HR leader. What have been some of the challenges that you found we need to address when it comes to designing our employee experience framework?
Was good questions, Russell. Once again, it's about the basic foundation is mindset and behavior from the work today and changing to something different. Uh, I think everyone has agreed that it's time of the disruption. We're dealing with the disruption will not be an easy for anyone. So those shifting the culturally that support it will help a lot. Improving the employee experience, developing essential skill and the competencies, including the employee well-being, diversity, equity, as well as the inclusion. So the based on what I've been through, the employee experience, which is can be defined with everything that our employee doing the job. Yeah. So it's a sum of this summation of every interaction they take with the company and the outcome of those interaction. So as the HR leader, typically we are encouraged to lead the way in managing and monitoring, also measuring the employee experience itself. But the employee experience reaches across all the departments and how we can bring this to all level. And in terms of the organization, we need to creating an employee experience that work with the introduction of the intelligent process integrated and also the innovation tech solution that designed to change the way employees do the work. So that is one of the big challenges in terms of the framework in the part of the process that as the HR professional see in terms of the digital workforce going forward. Back to you, Rachel.
So it's a deep dive into that summation of interactions. But of course, to be able to understand that we need systems and there is almost like a science behind it. Sujay, what are other challenges that you see have somewhat become a roadblock, I would say, to enhancing the employee experience?
So, there's a lot being said today about employee experience, right? What I think needs to happen first is you need to first understand how do you define employee experience in your specific organization. It becomes important to understand what are the demographics of the workforce. What are the types of employee groups do you have? It could be desk-based workers, it could be deskless workers, it could be remote employees, it could be employees who are working flexible hours. So you need to understand these sets of groups of employees first, and then we need to arrive at what their employee journey or their journey in day-to-day functioning within the organization is. So we need to use design thinking tools and techniques, just like we would simulate a customer experience or a journey within the organization, to understand what is that employee experience in that journey in critical moments that matter. And then we need to see what are the touch points and how do we enhance the experience of consuming HR practices and policies in those touch points. And from a technology perspective, yes, technology is important, but there has to be a fine balance with a leverage and invest model. That is, you leverage the investments you've already made, and how do you invest in new components that are gaps today in defining a differentiated experience to the employees. So you don't toss out everything you have and get something new, but you leverage what you have to the best extent possible. And then you overlap that with new investments to bridge those experience gaps. The other, I won't say a challenge, but the other areas that you need to keep in mind is to understand different stakeholders have different needs. So you need to understand what is in it for me, for each of those stakeholders, while designing this new or differentiated employee experience. So all these areas also go into something called the case for change as to why we need to change the employee experience in the first place. So it is a sum total of all these activities that organizations need to keep in mind when they're framing the employee experience structure or framework within their organizations.
So connecting that with what Ariyanto said earlier, that it's a summation of all the interactions. So and Sujay, you said that these are critical moments that we have to zoom into, but it's technology is there to actually close the gaps in those experiences. So I know Ariyanto, you are a proud customer and a champion of SAP SuccessFactors. and it's one of the trusted names in what we call the human experience management platforms. So, what should leaders prioritize when choosing and investing in HXM platforms to drive employee engagement?
Thanks, Raisa. So this is from what been through based on my prioritizing. We're talking about uh, top three on it. Talking about the embracing flexible. Talking about the work environment itself and what is kind of the benefit that employee want uh, right now. So through this prioritizing, then we can improving on the diversity, equity, and also the inclusion, which is we can in general that our totally demanding the same type of user experience in the business facing the application. So the digital workplace need to provide a means for either like we're talking about millennial or Gen Zs to do work efficiently and remotely, something like that. Back to yourself.
Thank you. Sujay, well, what would be your advice when it comes to leaders, prioritizing what they look for in an HXM platform?
So based on my interactions with folks similar to Ariyanto, the needs are very different from organization to organization, right? So what primarily drives these decisions, and if you were to so call a checklist on which is the ideal platform for yourself, it depends on several areas such as demographics of your employees, geographic spread. Are you an organization based in a specific country or a region, or are you a global player? And hence that becomes an area of priority, saying, do I need a truly global platform and global solution, or do I need a tool which is very local and regional? And there could be a blend of both. Planning the roadmap is a huge priority as to what is the final destination, but at the same time, where do we start and how do we pan out is also important, because many organizations want to demonstrate and achieve quick wins right at the outset in terms of the entire transformation exercise with the platform. So where do I start? Where do I get a quick win? How do I pan out? And what's the roadmap for that? That becomes an important decision making point. The other areas could be with regards to feature functionality is one thing, but what is specific features and functionality that we need or our organization needs as a fundamental must have becomes a very big area of priority for organizations. Local depth of knowledge from a compliance perspective, from a regulatory standpoint, from a payroll capability, and also to understand, what is the level of penetration the platform has within a country or within a region or globally is also a very important parameter to be able to zero in on the platform that works for you. Apart from this, there are a whole lot of areas such as partner ecosystem, marketplace of applications that you have, and so on and so forth. But I've touched on a few.
Thank you, Sujay. I love how Ariyanto earlier mentioned, the diversity of the workforce. You have millennials, you have people from different backgrounds. And one of the challenges of an increasingly diverse and remote workforce is actually ensuring how these different groups within the workforce collaborate and build their teams, their team spirit, their rapport. Now, SAP SuccessFactors as an HXM platform, it can promote that ease of collaboration. How can we leverage that in the workplace today, especially with a workforce working across geographies? Ariyanto?
Thanks, Raisa. So as we aware today new normal, which is dealing with the FUCA, volatile, uncertainty, complex, and ambiguous. So there is no magic formula actually. for dealing with all those things, except the preparedness, right? So for us to facing that kind of the situation. So starting a digital transformation is a challenging process for any organization. However, the connection between the digital workforce and also the employee experience is the evident. Those company that introduce intelligence, innovative, and integrated technology solution into their business will thrive in the next decade. Yeah. So so many organizations realize that IT, HR don't have necessary skill needed to manage a digital transition effectively. Therefore, the rise of the chief employee experience officer is starting to get the traction. Yeah. So companies can leverage the organization's level through the CEO to lead the digital transformation and providing a conduit between the employees, so manager and also the C-suites entire the organization. So that is kind of the things that to see any increasing HXM and also the collaborated to entire the workforce. Back to you, Rachel.
Yep. So again, it's like the HXM platform is like the bedrock. And so while we have a very volatile and a volatile environment that is open to disruption, you at least have that HXM platform to serve the needs of the workforce. So Sujay, when it comes to ensuring collaboration between a diverse workforce, how do we make it easy and smooth sailing for managers?
So I guess, if you talk about collaboration per se, right, it is a continuous process throughout the life cycle of an employee. If you were to examine a situation such as onboarding, just imagine a situation where employees join in a virtual ecosystem. You're not in office, you're working remotely, but yet you need to collaborate with your peers. You need to learn from them. You need to understand who are subject matter experts and get to them. So you're talking about, in an onboarding stage, you're talking about access to information, processes, and people, all on a virtual platform. So that is one example that tools like SAP SuccessFactors enable in an onboarding stage. But if you look at learning, again, we are talking about experiential learning. You're talking about peer-to-peer learning. You're talking about accessing knowledge across the organization, irrespective of geography. And hence, you're looking at learning platforms that not only connect you to content relevant to you within your organization, but also learning platforms that help you collaborate and connect to content pieces and elements maybe outside your organization, like MOOCs, for an example. And if you're talking about career management or career path planning or talent development, today we're talking about talent marketplaces, wherein within the organization, because most organizations today have headcount freezes, hiring freezes, headcount restrictions. So you're looking at talent marketplaces where employees can collaborate with mentors by doing short-term assignments, or they could choose gigs or projects where they want to understand what the other team looks like from a dynamics and a functioning perspectives, to be able to grow their acumen in other functionalities. So that's again collaboration in a way, collaboration to learn new things, to be able to grow your career path within the organization. And you're also talking about today understanding avenues of growth, not only within your own vertical but in a matrixed organization. So for that, we're talking about dynamic teams. How do employees come together, collaborate for a specific project, and then disband, and then reorganize themselves into a different group to work for some other project? So how do you collaborate in such a way to get work done? So those are other aspects, technology platforms like SAP SuccessFactors today are enabling to foster collaboration.
Thank you, Sujay. So Ariyanto, how would you recommend like measuring the impact of the digital tools and solutions that are driving employee engagement. What have been some of your lessons when it comes to using digital tools and your outlook for the future?
Much. So this is based on our experience. Yeah. So our lesson learned. So basically, we could go on about how we creating a digital workforce solution that improve the employee experience should be primary driver for our business to undergo with the digital transformation. But however, yeah, the reality is not. I think that's uh, basically when we're talking about the want to increase the profit, that is the primary concern. So we're talking about the number, focusing on the number and focusing on the people because those can create more values into our organization. Yeah. So uh, profit is not being part our primary, but we're talking about the people and also the number who more involved in the transformations, digital transformation. So the primary concern when the leasing out the investment necessary throughout with the digital transformations, it makes sense that increasing employee engagement lead to the higher level of the productivity. That is what we've been through. In turn, with the higher productivity level, lead to increase the revenue and also happy shareholder at the end. That is true. What we lesson learned from our organization.
Thank you, Ariyanto. So Sujay, Ariyanto mentioned increase in engagement, increase in productivity, and then that following through with the ROI and it affecting the performance of the organization as a whole. So, what other measures of impact would you say would capture the effectiveness of digital tools and solutions?
Yeah. So if you recall earlier, I had mentioned about case for change on structuring the employee experience framework on what business outcomes you need to achieve. And at that stage, organizations should define the KPIs that define the success of a HR digital transformation exercise. And this could be, adoption rates, percentages, reduction in cycle times for, let's say, hiring or, completing your performance management exercise. It could be business related KPIs such as reduction of attrition rates, higher employee engagement rates, a number of KPIs that are material and significant to you, which are directly linked to the business outcomes that you want to achieve. So measuring these KPIs from an HR operational standpoint become important. But what is even more important is to measure critical factors such as adoption rates, uh, employees using new technology. And what is best is to actually go directly to the employees and ask them, is this working for you or not? So sentiment analysis, to understand what are the areas that is working from new technology, what is not working, what are the gaps. So employee listening and continuous feedback offers also a lot of measures for organizations to see if there is any course correction or fine tuning that needs to be done from a HR technology perspective. So those are some of the ways in which you could measure the effectiveness of your digital investments, right? And you did mention, I think, about lessons learned, right? So from a lessons learned, it's more from what we hear from organizations is the effectiveness is higher when you're talking about best of suite rather than best of breed, because in a best of breed situation the employee experience tends to break because of multiple handshakes between technology components, different user experience, look and feel, and also a lot of data integration at the back end. So that's something that we've learned from organizations. So the best of suite is a better approach. And the third point of your question was what should your future focus be on? Is that right?
Yes.
I think the focus needs to be on stakeholder experience, whether it's manager, employee, HR business partner, or business leader. It is based on stakeholder experience because that is what they see. They don't see, the nuts and bolts, the plumbing at the back end, what exists in HR technology. They look at the user experience and the interface and the employee or the stakeholder experience. So that's the most important thing. We need to start with that as the first port of call.
Thank you, Sujay. Before I proceed with with our last question, we actually have two questions here from our audience. This goes back to our idea of you know how do we guide that hybrid workforce now in a digital, if we look at the digital employee experience or a digital first employee experience. So the first question is, what have you found to be the most attractive perk to get people to embrace both on-site and remote work, the balance of? Ariyanto, would you like to give us your advice on how you balance that um, remote versus
I,
on-site?
yeah, I think I don't want to giving advice, but just sharing the thoughts and our idea. Yeah, that's what been experienced with our organization. Basically, that uh, people aspiration is most important. Yeah. So as the Sujay was mentioning, that the one that fit for what our employees needs and also what's the business needs. So in term of in the bridging, we currently are apply the work from anywhere currently, but in certain situation to keep connected, we mandated within a week everyone should be connected physically. So the rest of the day, the employee can um, do the performing the requirement of the job, and then we monitorize with the dashboard that we provide to measure all the leader should be happy end of the day. Yeah. So we have a simply uh, question every day, just simply asking them what you feeling today. Send the icon, and then you can choose, and then that will be helping us to improve day to day. So that is make us to keep connected with small, simple step during the hybrid work environment.
Thanks for sharing that real world example, Arianto. Sujay, from your conversations with different organizations, what have you found to be like a trend or a pattern in what attracts people to embrace a hybrid approach?
So when you say hybrid, are you talking about hybrid work approach, or are
Um,
you talking about?
the question is the balancing of the on site and remote work approach.
Okay, so I think most organizations today, including SAP, we're focusing on the outcome, right? To get work done effectively. Now, that is irrespective of where you are located, based, or where you work. So you're talking about flexi working, remote working, hybrid working, where you can work part-time in the office and part-time remotely. Now, that in a way is based on how you discuss this arrangement with your employees and what is required to, like I said, get the work done or to meet a specific customer situation or deadline. Organizations today are using the physical space in the office across geographies as more areas of collaboration, innovation, design thinking, whiteboarding, and solutioning for employees to get together and problem solve, right? Because that's where you need the thought process of different minds. You need the diversity to come together to be able to kind of innovate. So that's what we are seeing happening today in the physical workplace. And this is not just internal to an organization. Many a times it includes their customers and their clients as well, working together to ideate and innovate together. So physical workspaces today are more for collaboration, more for ideation, more for innovation. So you come together when you need to do that. So that is what we see in most of the markets today, the trade-off or the handshake between when do you work off-site and when do you come on-site. But there are certain roles that require you to be present on site. You cannot do that work remotely. So then, the business needs you to be in office 100%. So that you cannot avoid.
Yep. Actually, that response, Sujay, answers our second question, which is about what do we do about the physical workspaces now. So you mentioned that it becomes a space for collaboration of like really bouncing ideas off of each other in a more, I guess, the physical presence works to that. It provides that advantage. So for our parting shot, what would be your closing comments on how we can solidify the link between digital workspaces and employee engagement? So I guess it would recap the entire conversation from today. Ariyanto, your thoughts on how we can better solidify employee engagement
Okay,
in a
so
workspace?
engagement, employee engagement, and also the digital workspace. Is that you mean, Raisa? Okay.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, I think as we mentioned, also Sujay already mentioned, business are moving into the digital age. So it's a significant speed, and I think it is like a wake up call to anybody that going into digital is not something only improving the experiences, but also the technology also represent the organization with so many opportunity. Um, and then the digital workplace is one of the most critical factor currently with the employee experience. That where the workplace is where the I can say that the workplace is where the rubber meets the road for the into your organization. Yeah, and we need to provide our team with the everything they need to do their job effectively. This situation sometimes can be seen as the organization as the nightmare, uh, but putting some effort into their development uh, and then let them to walk away with all the company investment, leaving for the competition. Therefore, the digital workplace means that critical for our employees going forward. And it is one of the primary factors shaping the employee experience uh, with the need of the organization. The Our employee want the workspace that user friendly, definitely, efficiently, and readily available. Yeah. When the employee have the right tools to do the job, I think it's going to be increase the employee engagement. The engagement itself is defined how the employee feel about their work and feel about their employer brand. Highly engaged employee are willing to do more to the company because they believe that they have some purpose into organization and have meaning to their work life. Back to you, Reza.
Thank you, Ariyanto. Sujay, your closing comments on solidifying the link between the digital workspace and employee engagement.
So the way I would, kind of state it is today change is everywhere, right? Business models are changing. The way we organize ourselves to work or deliver outcomes is changing. The definition of work is changing. Employee needs and expectations are drastically changing. And today, work is remote, digital, flexible, and hence organizations are rethinking how to connect, inform, empower, and engage with the employees better in such a rapidly changing ecosystem. And to me, digital technology is a non-negotiable and an undeniable enabler to be able to help this connect, inform, empower, and engage better with employees. So it's not nice to have anymore, it's a must have.
Thank you, Sujay. So to both of you. I really enjoyed learning from you, sharing your insights. We would also like to thank our partner for this session, SAP SuccessFactors, the global provider of cloud-based human experience management software. Their application suite integrates onboarding, social business and collaboration tools, and many other services to deliver business strategy alignment, team execution, and maximum people performance to organizations. Many of the wonderful things that we spoke about today. So, for more details, please visit www.sap.com to learn more about their tech solutions. So again, we thank Ariyanto and Sujay for gracing us with their presence this afternoon, and to all our audience members, especially those who sent in their questions, thank you so much for your participation. It's been a pleasure hosting all of you today. Do stay tuned for our upcoming virtual learning episodes from this series with SAP SuccessFactors. So again, I'm Rachel Reynosa. Have a great day, everyone.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Bye, everyone.